Right now, we are witnessing what could be the dawn of the Internet's decline. The UK, Australia, the European Union, and the USA are all collaborating on a global initiative to regulate online activity. Platforms like Spotify, YouTube, adult sites, Reddit, and even VPNs are now facing new verification measures. Essentially, anything the government deems risky is being placed behind age checks. In the UK, sites such as Reddit and X are now legally required to request photo ID or a copy of your identification. Similar laws are being considered in the US and EU. We're seeing an incredibly fast, coordinated push to control online activity worldwide. To understand why this is happening now and who is behind it, we need to look at the UK, where this movement started. On the surface, the UK's online safety bill, coming into effect at the end of July 2025, is meant to protect children from adult content. But the law has been making headlines for much more controversial reasons. For example, Spotify now requires users to upload a driver's license to access explicit music. Discord has begun asking for ID to enter channels labeled 18+, and YouTube will begin age verification soon, starting with AI monitoring what content users watch to determine if they're underage. Watch too many Minecraft videos, and you might trigger the system. The problems are obvious. This is largely ineffective at protecting children. Anyone can bypass it using a VPN or AI-generated photos. Proton VPN, for instance, saw an 1,800% spike in downloads after the act went into effect. Screenshots, random photos, or 3D models can all bypass these checks. So who actually ends up complying? Mostly older users who are less tech-savvy. They often hand over sensitive data, IDs, photos, facial scans, believing it's safe because the government mandates it. This opens the door for corporate contractors to store and potentially share your personal information. Take Persona, used by Reddit and OpenAI. Their privacy policy states they store uploaded IDs and facial data, sometimes for 3 years, and possibly longer if the government requests it. Security lapses are frequent in such companies. Breaches are common. Just before this law came into effect, the dating app T experienced a major leak, exposing tens of thousands of verification images. This means, under the guise of child protection, adults' online activity is being monitored, and sensitive data is now in the hands of private corporations with questionable security. The UK government itself is hardly above a scrutiny, considering recent scandals, fraudulent contracts, and misuse of public funds. The real aim of this act seems to be controlling adult internet behavior. Many subreddits, not just adult content, are blocked. Even communities related to quitting smoking or drinking or reporting political issues are caught in the crossfire. Content about protests, parliamentary speeches, or international conflicts has also been restricted. This is the beginning of a dystopian scenario where governments grant AI and algorithms the power to decide what people can access online. This aligns with other laws limiting freedoms and demanding backdoors in apps like Apple Messages and WhatsApp. Major tech companies resist, but governments persist, pushing for surveillance under the guise of safety. Globally, the effort is coordinated. The EU is reviving chat control legislation, aiming for client-side scanning of encrypted messages. Australia is pushing laws to enforce a social media compliance and criminalize encrypted messaging. In the US, the Kids Online Safety Act and the Screen Act aim to require age verification for nearly all users, essentially ending anonymous browsing. Even Ireland proposes scanning private messages before they leave your device. The UK's Online Safety Act already allows this, giving governments unprecedented access. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's happening right now. The internet, as we know it, is being systematically restricted by global governments, often without public consent. This entire situation reveals a much bigger truth. Governments are not simply trying to protect children online. That's the excuse. But the reality is far more concerning. By forcing ID checks and surveillance on nearly every platform, they're building an infrastructure of control that doesn't just affect kids. It affects all of us. And here's the crazy part. They already know these systems don't really work. Kids today can download a VPN or generate a fake photo in minutes. But older, less tech-savvy adults? They're the ones who comply, handing over private IDs, facial scans, and biometric data without question. Quick question for you. Would you ever upload your driver's license just to listen to music or watch YouTube? Let me know in the comments. I'll be checking and replying. Now think about what happens next. Once your personal information is in these databases, you have almost zero control. Companies like Persona, already used by Reddit and OpenAI, admit in their privacy policies that they keep your data for years, sometimes indefinitely, and share it with third parties. And remember, the government can always step in and demand that data stay active permanently. And when these companies suffer inevitable data breaches, which they always do, your identity, face scans, and private details could be sold to the highest bidder. We've already seen this with apps like T, which promised to delete verification images, but then leaked tens of thousands of them during a hack. If you've ever had your account hacked or data leaked, hit the like button right now so this video spreads to more people who need to hear this. Here's the most chilling part. The same governments who passed these bills already knew these loopholes existed. They knew kids would find ways around them. So why pass the law anyway? The real goal isn't to stop children, it's to discourage adults from even trying to access content the government doesn't approve of. This becomes obvious when you see what's been blocked. Not just adult sites, but also health-related subreddits like Stop Smoking and Stop Drinking, political protest footage, and even the speeches from elected officials. Some posts about international conflicts like Gaza and Ukraine are also being quietly restricted. So ask yourself, if this were really about keeping kids safe, why block resources that could actually help them? Why silence political voices? The answer is simple, because these laws aren't about safety. They're about censorship and control. And this is where things get dangerous. Once governments establish that they can decide what's safe and what's not, the floodgates are open. More and more types of content will be flagged, more websites will be restricted, and more platforms will be forced to demand ID just to use them. If you think this is a step toward a dystopian internet, type freedom in the comments so I know you're watching till this point. This isn't just the UK. It's part of a wider synchronized effort. In the EU, under Denmark's 2025 presidency, we're already seeing attempts to mandate client-side scanning of private messages. In Australia, the e-safety commissioner now has the power to demand takedowns within 24 hours, but even from private messaging apps. And in the US, the Kids Online Safety Act and the Screen Act aim to end anonymous browsing altogether. The writing is on the wall. The open, free internet is being dismantled in real time, And the scariest thing? Most people don't even realize it yet.